Hello, all you hardcores out there. How you doing? Porky here, the biggest gob in sport. You know that, don't you? I say the things on this channel that no other YouTube channel dare say. You know that. Right. It's been an interesting few days, hasn't it, really, in the sport of boxing. Eh? Nothing's changed, though, has it? I mean, was it a couple of years in it since Harper Jonas Harper, however you want to call it. There you go. There's the picture on front there. That's end at 10th round. That tells a story, doesn't it? The girl on the right, Natasha Jonas, won by 3 rounds comfortably. The girl on the left, we've not heard a squeak out of her saying that she thought she won the fight. Only person saying that's her mouthpiece, the gingerbread man. So, but anyway, we'll get to that in a bit. Let's just start off with what's been going on. We all know about Adam Smith, aka Bean, don't we? Not heard any news about him, but I'm expecting. I don't know. I'm expecting a big PR campaign and a bit of a mini documentary about him and blah blah blah. So I don't expect him to be any day saying he's in a clinic. Probably the Priory. That's a top end one where all stars go in it. I mean, he's not an athlete or a film star or anything. We're talking about, well, a guy who's just works in boxing, doesn't he? He's head of boxing for a TV platform. Do you know what I mean? It'll be unheard of when it happens, but when you've been doing it 28 years and you've got an ego as big as beans, I'd expect him to come out saying, well, I've been Priory and something like that. That's what I'd have thought. And then milking it with gambling and pressures and sport pressures and all that. So they're going to market this one, and he's going to be poster boy for pressure in the sport of boxing. So, but if he is genuine and he is ill, well, good luck to him. But I'm a bit of a cynic, aren't I? Me really in boxing, I don't believe anything. I always go for opposite because people have their own narratives, don't they? For example, we know a certain boxer, don't we, that got into trouble with loads of drug tests, multiple drug tests, and what happened then? Well, it all came out about mental health, didn't it, really? So we're going to probably see something like that, mental health, depression, and Priory from Mr. Bean. So, but well, have I got any sympathy for him? No, I haven't, because if he'd have been backing winners at the bookies, he won't be in the whatever he's in now, would he? You know what I mean? So no sympathy whatsoever, self-inflicted. Just like when you take drugs and you get a big drug habit, like I have. I had the biggest drug habit in the town, kid, let me tell you. Self inflicted, no sympathy, no sympathy. And when people go on about mental health, I always switch off. I don't want to hear people go on about mental health in my company. No offense, but no, 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 no. People in my company, people I know, people, my family, my friends, people around me, they know not to mention mental health in my company at all. I've got grandparents that are all passed away and they were in World War Two. I've got great uncles who've had the fingers shot off in World War Two. Nobody were wheeling out mental health then. They just got on with it, didn't they? So don't be wheeling out mental health in my company, anybody. I know that's harsh. This is my channel. I can say what I want. All right, because too many people are manipulating the system with mental health issues. I'm not saying beanies, but a lot of people. And as you know what boxing's like, don't you? Hey, we all know, don't we? It's full of liars, charlatans, and vagabonds. All right. So anyway, we'll come to that later. The vagabond bit, charlatans and born liars. Golden Boy, their deal's up in 4 weeks with DAZN. So another 4 weeks, they're done with DAZN. Will they get a new deal? I'm not sure. Or will Oscar De La Hoya take his stable to another TV platform? I'm not sure, but how I look at it is this: Oscar De La Hoya and Eddie Hearn had a meeting at DAZN, and they said, "Look, you two have got to stop it going at each other. You're on the same platform, but in another 4 weeks, will Oscar still be there? I'm not sure. If he gets a new deal there, Eduardo Hills, the 5-0 Iceman from Billericay, free by way of, but no footage. And his dad's had a production company 40 years since 1982. His only son ripping through the amateur ranks, 5-0, icing people. Well, 4-0, should I say, because he's had one with Spotty Frank and he since. You know, his T-boy, who were told not to punch him back. So, but the 5-0 Iceman ripping through the division, and only footage we've got is him knocking Spotty Frank about. I don't know what to make of that, but it's going to be interesting to see if Eddie Earn's the sole guy with an exclusive DAZN deal. Bit like when Eddie Earn had an exclusive deal with Sky, and he had to deal with Adam Smith on a daily basis. You know, Bean. But yet Bean ended up with a job at Matchroom doing darts. Isn't that a conflict of interest? I don't know, but I'm sure it's all going to come out in the wash. So who knows? Maybe Bean might do an exclusive from the Priory. We're going to see, aren't we? But speaking of exclusives, I've just been looking at that AD Alapido's channel. I thought he'd come over across as a straight guy, him. But, you know, there's always a but with your Uncle Porky, isn't there? But, well, have you seen what he's been saying lately? Dylan White beat Franklin. What has you been smoking, AD Alapido? What have you been smoking, eh? Oh my God. Oh, I forgot. AD Alapido, he's on books at DAZN, isn't he? And Talk Sport. So he's not going to bite the hand that feeds him, is he? A bit like Darren Barker and Tony Bellew. I see Tony Bellew's pushing narrative out, isn't he? Natasha, you're doing really great. You only need one more belt for the complete set. He's doing Eddie's work for him anyway. Jonas versus Harper rematch. But Jonas has got 3 belts plus Ring Magazine. And she's a superstar, isn't she, now at Sky? And they're looking at her being the face of Sky Sports, not only boxing. There's things lined up for her that's off the charts. And she looks $1 million as well, doesn't she? So I very much doubt she's going to listen to old Tony Macaroni. But more on that later. But AD Alapido saying that White beat Franklin. Oh, God. If Joshua takes that fight with White, it's like bullying, isn't it? It's like Fury wanting to fight Joshua, isn't it? Because he's coming off 2 losses. And then handing deadlines out and that. Oh, my God. Tommy Fury didn't like it when and Big John Fury, big fighting man, let's have a battle royale. They didn't like Jake Paul handing deadlines out to Super Tommy, did they? So, but that aid is employed by DAZN, isn't he? So he's got to say that kind of thing, hasn't he? Oh, Eddie Hills, the 5-0 Iceman from Billericay, ripping through the division, massive puncher, big uppercuts. Eddie Hills, you know, he's got to be put up there in lights, hasn't he, by AD? They've got to big his fighters up, haven't they, or they'll get dropped, won't they? And that's the narrative that's being pushed out there. It's fake news, isn't it? You know what I mean? Laura Woods, she's a Talk Sport one, isn't she, as well? But she's also works for DAZN. She's even worse than AD Alapido. She's an opinion on everybody, aren't she? And anything every Monday morning, aren't she, Laura Woods? But she's nothing to say about Conor Benn, has she, or Dylan White? Nothing to say. Nobody's even mentioning where White's B sample is. That's 3.5 years ago now, isn't it? Nobody even mentions where that is. Do you know it takes 48 hours to get your B sample? You pay £400. That's from USADA and VADA. £400 it costs. That's all. So I'm willing to pay the 400 quid for Dylan White's B sample and Conor Ben's. I will pay that out my own pocket. I'll pay it for Tete's as well. Eh? I'll pay for Tete's B sample. Let's have these B samples. Let's have them. Let's have them out there. But it's been going on for years, hasn't it? In Mike Tyson's book, he admitted to cheating, didn't he? Using a false willy or something to pay into it to get off with it, and sometimes they were paying £5,000 fines not to have a test. It's all out there online. Go and look. It's been going on for years. But what's going on here? Then we've got Big John Fury, big fighting man that don't fight, 8 years out of jail, threatening people to step forward to him. If they're asking difficult questions, he'll knock your teeth out and take your nose off. We've got Dylan White being menacing to media, but well, I can't blame him when you've got the Gad going up to him and saying, "Have you had a shower this week, you?" to Dylan White. I don't know what's going on there, but I don't know what's going on there. But Dylan White's eyes looked like they were going to pop out. He was just about to say, bruv, you're smoking crack. You're smoking crack, bruv. He was just about to give it that one, or give it the old, you're living in your mum's spare bed, bruv. Because that's the narrative, isn't it? You're smoking crack. You're living in your mum's spare bedroom when you've never had a fight in your life. That's the narrative that you get from boxers who are asked difficult questions. It's crazy. Could you imagine, right? Could you imagine Jurgen Klopp turning round, or Pep Guardiola? They're the top two dogs, aren't they? This last 10 year, in football, they're the top dogs, aren't they? The top boys. Could you imagine Jurgen Klopp or Pep Guardiola saying in an interview, anybody who steps forward and asks me difficult questions will knock the teeth out and take the nose off and have a battle royale? Or, bruv, I slap them down, bruv. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine Micah Richards, Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, and Roy Keane, Souness, the famous five at Sky? Could you imagine them setting about them on Sky? There'd be no bias from them, would there? They're not bothered about bias, are they? Hey, but the bias in boxing is out of control. Has anybody heard from Conor Ben? We've not heard a squeak out of him. Not a squeak. It's now 18 weeks since the first failed dope test. 18 weeks, and it's 2 months or 7 weeks since the second dope test failure. So what's going on there? Where are the B samples from both these tests? I'm willing to pay it, Eddie Hills, the 5-0 Iceman. Me, Big P, I'll pay it. So, which brings me to maths and English in the sport of boxing. Why is it that boxers or ex-boxers, Isaac Lowe, he's not the best texter in the world, but I like Isaac Lowe because he's a bit of a warrior, isn't he? But Steffi Bull, he's another one that should have done a lot longer at school, shouldn't he? Really? I mean, it's a joke, isn't it? I mean, I've heard Steffi's using the same private teacher as Isaac Lowe, the Lowster, to brush up on his education, in maths, because Steffi said Natasha Jonas was offered a high-end six-figure sum to fight Terry Harper for all the marbles, right? All the marbles, right? Now, a high-end six-figure would be 800, 900 grand, wouldn't it? Now, a low end would be 200, 300, wouldn't it? Right? So we're all together on this now, right? So he said a high-end six figures. He's then putting tweets out showing himself up with Eddie Hills. Oh my God, I bet they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, Eddie, sorry, Eddie. He's then gone out and put a tweet out saying that Tasha's knocked back 500,000. Well, Steffi, you're wrong there by about 100 grand. It was 400,000. The second improved offer from a high-end six-figure was 400,000. So if it's 400,000 for a second offer that's improved, what was the first one? It wasn't high-end six figures. So well done, Steffi, for employing the same private tutor as Isaac Lowe. And it must be working for Isaac Lowe because his tweets now that people send me, they're looking good and they're looking all polished. So good luck to Isaac. And Steffi, you keep at it and you'll be able to add up soon. Because Steffi, 2 and 2 is not 9. All right. Hey, what is all that about? But I wonder what Tony makes about it all. Good old Tony Bellew and Eddie Hearn. Hey, they're like the Starsky and Hutch, or is it Crockett and Tubbs of boxing, aren't they? Tony and Bellew. Old Tony there, 200 grand for Cleverly fight. Eddie got 1 million. Eddie got 1 million for Cleverly Bellew rematch. Tony got 200 grand. What is all that about? He's your mate, Tony. 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 He got greedy. Did Eddie? Eddie did it for fans. Eddie took 1 mil and Tony took 200. Poor Tony, but maybe that's why Tony hangs around him because he feels like he's probably still owed money. You know what I mean? Maybe he still hasn't seen through Eddie yet, but he will, and all the rest have seen through him, haven't they? People come and go, don't they? Do you know what I mean? But embarrassing, isn't it, from Bellew? But hey ho, what can we do? But so let's see what this offer is going to be, this next offer. But I'm hearing that it's going to take a record-breaking purse for Natasha Jonas to fight Terry Harper because there's that much been said and that much bad blood and there's that many lies. I mean, I'm just looking at some of these interviews here that Joe G, the legendary trainer Joe G, has done some of these interviews. He's done the last few days, and basically they're gonna have to break the bank at Monte Carlo, aren't they, to pay Natasha Jonas? You'd have to break the world record for a female fighter, wouldn't you, to put all the belts on the line in an intense beef fight, because they sell it as intense beef, won't they, or grilled Nando's chicken or something. I don't know. You know, they'd sell it proper, won't they? But Tasha's like #1 box rec, isn't she now on rankings? She's a superstar, isn't she? She's got all the belts. Really, technically, she's got the lot, hasn't she? She's at the top of the food chain now. And what you're probably going to have to see, you're probably going to have to see the gingerbread man is going to have to boil Terry Harper back down from that. What was she walking around at? 162, I've heard. They're going to have to boil her down to about 140 and feed her to Katie Taylor or Chantel Cameron. That's what's going to happen there. And they're not going to want that because she might never want to fight again if they put hands on her. Because I think if Chantel Cameron lets one of them rocket launchers go of hers, it will be KO. So, or just take your hard mandatory, gingerbread man. But Eddie are probably going to have to pay step aside to get somebody wangled in as a mandatory for Terry Harper. Then it'll just come off Terry's purse and it'll be for chicken feed. So basically, they're in no man's land, really. Joe G, the legendary trainer from Manchester, and Tasha Jonas, they're in the driving seat there. And that's just how it goes, isn't it? The clock is ticking, isn't it, Steffi? Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Anyway, I'm going to give Big Joe, I'm going to give him a big up here, but most of all, I'm going to give Paul Butler a big up. Double world champion, right? He's going out there to fight a know you this weekend, right? That's a pound for pound superstar. They've already put Callum Johnson in with Beta Beef, and he nearly pulled it off. He's a pound for pound top fighter. So that's 2. Paul Smith for Andre Ward, that's 3. Oscar Valdez, 4. He fought Quigg. Frampton, he fought Quigg. That's 5, isn't it? Linares, twice. Crawler. Lomachenko, Katie Taylor. I mean, you can go on forever here. You can go on forever here with these superstars that have got opportunities, or that, sorry, Joe G's fighters that have got opportunities against these superstars. Some you win, some you lose, don't you? But you can't knock it, can you? Like what that man's done up at 6, in bed at 12, mine don't switch off. And I suppose being the most successful trainer in the country and the only one to win the Ring Magazine Trainer of the Year award, I suppose that's fantastic, really, isn't it? The only is he the only English guy to do it, I think, isn't he, Joe? So I think that is fantastic. But Harper Jonas, Jonas Harper, however you want to call it, undisputed and all that. Does it happen? In my opinion, no, it does not happen unless the Saudi money comes to the table and they throw Saudi money at it. That's the only way it's going to. Oh, I bet you're licking your lips with that one, Steffi, aren't you? That Saudi comment. Ooh, hey. Poor Terry Harper won't have a chance when that Saudi money comes in. She'd be getting invoiced for everything, wouldn't she? But I want to give a big shout out to Terry Harper's trainer, though. Superman Ray Doyle. He had a hair of head, a head of hair, should I say? He had an head of hair like Phil Mitchell 5 years ago. Have you seen him now? He looks like Terry McDermott, the legendary Liverpool midfielder. Terry McDermott who used to go crunching into tackles against Remy Moses and Brian Robson. You know that midfield? Souness and Terry Mack used to set about that lot, didn't they? Eh? What a team Liverpool had back then, eh? What a team, but that's about it, really. I don't really know what to say. We all saw Big John Fury, didn't we, the other day? Did you see that? Oh my God! Let me just play this here for you.
Because they all think, because I'm middle-aged, I train every day. I run 30 miles a week. I'm in that weight gym. I punch the bag every day. I'm capable of looking after myself. You know, and anybody who wants to think I'm a pushover, come and try it. Come and try it. I'm in London. I'm shying from nobody. I'll fight anybody. And like he said, he wants to fight me dad, no problem. My son can definitely beat him, and I can definitely beat his father. And I'll put money on that. So if they want it, come tomorrow. Weigh-in time. Let's have it. John, anybody that is in London, I'm in here. I'll fight any man in London. Any man in London, I'm here till Sunday. Come and challenge me out. And let's get at it. Enough of the shit talk. Do you want to fight? John Fury's here. My son's the best in the world, and I'm the best father in the world. And I'll prove it. If they want me to go in the ring, it'll cost them £1 million. If they want to fight me on a car park, it's free. Enough said on that to get wound up. Because they all...
So John wants to fight on car park for free. So Mickey Theo, you've got your opportunity now, mate. Go fight him. He'll do it for free on car park. There's your opportunity, Mick. I'm sure Mickey Theo will grab that with both hands. Him and John getting at it. So that's good. But Mick will probably, knowing Mick as I do, he'd probably want a few quid out of it, John, won't he? But if John's going to do it for free, I'm sure that some YouTuber could film it and they could get at it and put it to bed and save me wasting 18 months of my life running around with billboards and interviewing and trying to big that fight up. Broke my neck doing that. Nearly did me sending with traveling and expenses and that because I believed in both of them being fighting men. But so far, Mick hasn't had a fight and John's been out 8 years and he's not had a fight. So I don't know what's happening with that, but let's get the Mickey Theo John Fury thing back on. Hey, let's get it all back on. Mick, you've got your opportunity. Get you sent to London. Sure, you can take all a team with you and get at it. Get at it down Cat Alley with Big John and put it to bed and show that you're proper fighting men, pariahs. Because all I've heard is talk, a lot of talk, but mainly from John. But Mick could be up for that on Arn Road. Why not? But about all that about in the ring at £1 million. We've got a man here pushing 60, asking for £1 million. Unbelievable. When he first come out of jail, he used to sit humble in Peter Fury's gym. Humble. Never said a word. Forward 7.5, 8 years. Now look what you've got. The man's took over. He's a bigger star than his son. And his son's the best heavyweight of his generation. He's the best heavyweight out there, isn't he? Without a shadow of a doubt. He is a monster. He is a monster. I don't think anybody, the only person who's going to beat him is himself. He's a monster. Get that in your heads. But He don't mean to say the father is, does it? But he don't need to go around showing us how hard he is. John, you're a gentle soul, really, in real life. Stop it with this hard man image. You've not thrown a punch at anybody yet. You've not had a fight. So stop terrifying YouTubers and the media people, John. You're going to make a rod for your own back, because if you make a mistake, they'll all come out in force and they'll hang you. Trust me. There's a bit of a group of them at the moment, and they're not happy with you at the moment, John. So go make friends and be nice to people like me. Big shout out to Welcome Estates and Spartan Demolition, South Yorkshire Packaging, and Eastwood Autos. Peace out. Hey, listen, and you, Bobby Warren, I know you're listening, Bob. I like that Crombie you had on the other day, lad. Proper mod rocker, you lad. Peace out. Booyaka! And a big shout out to my mate Frank in Bury, Rick Maudsley, and Dave Holt in Tenerife, living it large. Pop, pop, bang! End of bum.